Hey guys, Daniel here. Today we're going to take a break from wrenching on the 135i and do a critical upgrade that most E90 and E92 M3s need, and that's the undertray. The undertrays in this generation of M3 are made of felt, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically made of fibers that feel like cloth or fabric. A major downside of that is it's very prone to wear and tear, especially in areas like New Jersey where we go through all kinds of weather conditions. This is the OEM undertray that we took off of Aiden's E90, and you see how worn out these are. Believe it or not, this one's actually in a decent condition. Because being a freak of nature he is, Aiden is super anal about maintaining his cars properly. But I've seen cases where these are completely trashed because they can't withstand road salt, acidic rain, and other types of harsh weather. And for you guys that have been following along since we launched our channel, one thing we keep emphasizing is the importance of proactive maintenance. So why not replace this before it completely falls apart? But instead of replacing it with another OEM piece that won't last for too long, we bought one that's made of aluminum and will probably last us for the remaining life of the car. It's a custom piece that's made by a company called Mporium, and as soon as we took it out the box, we were impressed with its craftsmanship and quality. They also supplied new bolts so we don't have to reuse the old ones. Small gestures like that go a long way, and we couldn't be happier with the outcome. So let's go right ahead and get this thing installed.
So this is actually the felt tray that is in question. You can see the plastic center here, and then you see this. Well, the passenger side as well as the driver's side, it is missing that, and I can tell this person probably drilled all this stuff to install a front lip. And here's a trusty little zip tie, which doesn't make me feel great about it, but let's go ahead and remove this. It's just basic hand tools, looking like an 8mm bolts, and then the back looks like 10mm. So let's go ahead and remove this, and then we'll go ahead and start to put the new one on. So a couple of 8mm on the front as well as the sides of this. Okay, so let's start with that. Make sure it's on loosey-goosey. And if you guys haven't taken this off in a long time, make sure you're wearing eye protection or stay away from the bottom, because there's going to be so much dirt and debris that's accumulated in between this. I mean, we've learned that from the 135i series, where we were taking off the intercooler and probably about 10 years worth of dirt and grime just fell on it and fell down. So just keep in mind. Okay. If you have a little magnet bowl, I'm using a welder's magnet just to hold the bolts in place. But, magnet's always helpful so you don't lose bolts. I don't think we're going to be reusing this, but we will take it off. Okay. So if we come around here, there's going to be a couple more bolts on the side here and here. We're going to need to take those off. And that's already loose. This is loose. Is there any more bolts here? Nope. So I'm going to do the other side. Other side is identical. Do we need this? We don't, because we're missing this entire piece. I do think we need to take that bolt off because it's not holding anything. Okay. Other side is exactly the same. 2 more 8mm bolts right by the fender well. And there are 3 bolts in the back that are gonna be 10mm. So let me put the 10 on here. And as you guys can see, this is actually the belly pan, right? Or the under tray that goes underneath of the engine, and it's also got your jacking point here. So we're going to be removing 3 10mm bolts. I don't think we're going to be reusing this because Mporium under panel, they actually supplied us with new bolts. Okay. All right, and here it comes. All right. And there it is, guys. Let me get out up from underneath of the car. And here it is, guys. It's missing the entire side pieces. And I really thought about replacing this with OEM because, you know, we emphasize how much we love OEM, replacement with OEM when it comes to mechanical, like wear and tear items underneath of the hood. But for the sake of this, you can tell this felt kind of stuff, it's on really thin plastic. This is probably seen better days. And let's make a direct comparison with this and this, right? And this is the way that it's going to go to. And if you look at even the bolts that they use, it's such a better design and much better quality. Like if you hit, you know, a branch on the road or something, this is gonna crack. And I'm assuming the side pieces were just ripped off due to wear and tear. Because if you look at these holes, right? I mean, you can tell they're floppy here. This centerpiece is actually in decent condition. I won't say that this is in bad condition by any means. I've seen where the entire thing was cracked. And you can see a couple of chips here, right? This is where it kind of protrudes down. So whatever they hit, or, you know, there you can see the scrapes going up like driveways or something, right? I don't think it was a heavy impact, but definitely you can see the wear and tear on this item. This is gonna be pretty easy. So I wanna make sure that's gonna have to get tucked in. All right, guys, so a couple of 10s in the back. This is the bolts that were supplied by Mporium. It's a direct fit. And I'm not gonna do it too tight right now. I'm gonna do it pretty loose, just hand tighten, because I think we will need to get in there and just kind of maneuver it around. They give you a little bit of give, and then we'll start with these guys.
If we bolt these though, can we tuck this back up? This piece right here?
Yeah, and how the fuck is it gonna hold? I think it is supposed to go under. I think it is supposed to go under.
Okay.
Oops. Then we'll do the sides. All right, so we got the back bolts hand tightened for now. We will screw it in, but we're gonna get to the front now. And take notes, guys, this has to go underneath of the bumper, right? It has to get tucked into the bumper as well as the sides, because there's no way to secure it unless this is underneath of the car. It's just an FYI. Okay. And obviously the big washer is there to secure it, and the holes should line up. So you see these guys, they're gonna be a little bit tough to put on, but before you get to these nuts, guys, make sure you put this one on first, okay? Because that's gonna be a pain to line up and put in. So what I did was, using the angle of where this is, and then this obviously flaps backwards. So what I want to do here is get as much room in here as possible, because it's not going to be an easy attempt if you can't get leverage. There you go. There we go. You can get it as tight as you can, hand tighten wise. Oh, sorry, Daniel. And then we're gonna push this up and then get it aligned. And you can see that there's a rip here. I'm hoping that this one will help it kind of be more stationary. Okay, get that one really tight, guys. And then this one, I'm really hoping that the rip is not going to cause this to flap around. Okay, now I'm going to tighten all these down. Got my Milwaukee. The Milwaukee's good for about 35 foot-pounds of torque, so I'm not going to go crazy. Okay, just a couple of clicks. Yeah, that's a bit of an eyesore, but you know what? It's underneath of the car. Okay. And remember, guys, it's you don't need a ton of torque on here. You just don't want it to go anywhere. Okay. And then back here. That is on there, and boy, does that look good. And the great thing about this piece is they have holes to accommodate for the actual metal pan that's part of the under panel for the engine. So if you need to get a socket in there, that's why the holes are here. But even to take this off, it'll be a pretty easy cakewalk. It's 10 millimeters again, bolting onto the factory location. Everything kind of fit like a glove. Obviously the bumper has been sagging, and I'm sure this is seeing better days. So you just have to line it up, start from the back obviously, and then move on to the front to get these guys hand tighten only. You saw me not really tightening it until you had everything kind of in place. And then the sides, right? The sides are gonna take a little bit of maneuvering. This one first, and then these two guys, just because you won't be able to utilize the opening of this fender liner in order to get a grip of this bolt here, right? It's much easier to do it this way than to try to go through this crevice that they gave you. But either way, it should work. But this is how I did it, and it worked out perfectly. The rib nuts really helped to just line it up and then put the bolt in. So that is it. We're gonna lower the car, and now we have a perfectly working under panel that we won't have to worry about the felt under panel breaking or the plastic pieces breaking. Super sturdy, super duper sturdy. I love it. And it still has the vents for the oil cooler here. You can see that the oil cooler is here. And yeah, this is a fantastic piece. And it's actually higher than the OEM piece, meaning that there isn't that droop down piece, right? So I think there's a bit of clearance as well. Let's get the car down, and then yeah, this is really a quality piece. Definitely recommend this for any E90, E92, E93 owner that's looking to replace this, I would highly recommend not going OEM, just because of the three-piece design and the poor quality of the material that they made it with. It's definitely going to break again. So I'm glad I replaced it with this. This isn't going anywhere for probably the ownership of the car.